So what is contributing to this upsurge right now in credit stress onshore?
Onshore,
yeah.
I think last year the pattern we're seeing is it's lagging behind the stress offshore. So now I think the onshore is doing a catching up. So last year, 2 builders have defaulted onshore. One of them is a major developer in the Henan province, and that developer has already defaulted offshore. So it's more like they've been prioritizing paying onshore debt, but I feel like, with the property market really lagging and not picking up, then they cannot hold it anymore onshore. So then we're seeing defaults, and then also in the LGFV sector, I think sentiments are worsening. So you're seeing credit spreads also widening onshore. And we have reported on the news about how the People's Bank of China is telling some of these banks not to buy LGFV bonds that are sold in the free trade zone bond market.
Okay. Now, the news that we just talked about with James there in Beijing, how does this help? Because in some ways this helps them complete some of the projects leading to some of the distress you talked about just there.
Yeah. I think from a credit perspective, it's really hard for that news to inject new confidence into the investors.
Okay.
If you're an investor, right, you're looking for new sales, things that keep the business going. But this is exactly. And this is just an extension of the loans to basically finish stuff that they should have finished years ago. So I think from an investor's perspective, it's not helping much the developers, and it's really just extending what Beijing has been saying. We're prioritizing home building, we're prioritizing finishing the unfinished project. It's not really about the liquidity of these companies.
All right, Yvonne, chime in.
Yeah, on the other hand, though, Loretta, you're starting to see offshore credit stress that eased last month. Is this a signal that maybe there is some improvement on the offshore market?
I think offshore market people are focusing on the survivors that have weathered through all these storms last year. But that doesn't really mean the situation is better. I mean, we have not seen as much defaults as the same time last year, but there are major developers that are facing a lot of stress. Sino-Ocean, which is actually a state-backed developer, its bonds are falling massively because of concerns about a potential onshore restructuring. And we also have, the biggest builder in China, Country Garden. It's facing major bond payments in the coming months. So there are a lot of things that can potentially shift the picture here. So I think just because we're not seeing imminent defaults doesn't mean the situation is better offshore.